Now, second thing that causes a bad customer experience, I have to say it, is the behavior of frontline staff. And research shows that bad customer experiences are caused by rude or uncaring or incompetent frontline staff, team members. Now, I know there's nobody in this room who would fit that bill. Right? Not one of you would be rude. Not one of you would be uncaring. Not one of you would be incompetent. However, our research shows that probably not one of you would introduce yourself when you see a customer. Now, when my kids were 4, I taught them that it was rude not to give your name when you meet somebody. You see, business is a social activity between human beings. And when you meet a human being, then what we typically do in our culture is give our name. So at 4 years of age, my kids were taught that you look somebody in the eye, you put your hand out, you put a smile on your face, and you say, "Hello, my name is Matt Brooks, nice to meet you." And yet you walk into a store, does that ever happen? No. So in one sense, we're not rude. In another sense, we are rude. And maybe we've got the opportunity to go from good to great while everybody else flounders away doing the stuff they keep doing that makes customers outraged. I can tell you the first one of these we did was in Canberra before Christmas. And I decided I'd mystery shop a few of the brands. And that left me in the middle of a mall in the afternoon. And my hair was a bit longer than it is now, and so I thought, well, I better have my hair cut. Something I have to tell you I hate doing. So I walked into this hairdressing salon, the unisex, and there's not much activity going on. And I walk up to the counter, and there's this short, fat, gothic chick with more metal in her face than the Eiffel Tower, standing on the other side of the counter, and she ignores me. Now, I'm fairly hard to ignore, right? And she ignores me. So I'm not happy about that, and I'm not the only one. Research shows that one of the biggest complaints that people have about their shopping experience is that when they walk into the store, they're ignored. 33% say that that's the biggest single problem, and 6% leave the store and walk out without buying anything, saying that they will never, ever, 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 ever return. Another problem that people have is 25% say they go in there and they can't find anybody. You know, and there's one of the brands in this room that's got a store in an airport that I won't mention, and I walked past that and I thought, oh, I'll go in and check it out, but as I walked past, there was nobody there. Now, I'm sure had I walked in, somebody would have sprung up from somewhere, but seeing an empty store didn't motivate me to go in, unless I'd had a big bag. Then I'd have gone in, filled it up, and tried to get out. But the thing is, you know, these are the problems that people have. Anyway, so here I am, being ignored by this gothic chick behind the counter. Finally, after about what seemed like 5 minutes, she noticed that I was there. She said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Well, yes, I'd like to have a haircut. Any chance of doing that in the next 15 minutes? So she started to interact with her computer, which was clearly a task beyond her, because she's pushing the keys, but there doesn't seem to be much information coming up because she's looking perplexed. Anyway, this goes on for a few minutes. Then some dude who's a hairdresser walks up to her. Now remember, they are just on the other side of the counter, and he says to her, "I can do them in 10 minutes. Right? Not, "I could cut your hair, sir, in 10 minutes. I can do them in 10 minutes. I'm saying, I'll tell you who's doing who, mate. Right? Anyway, so just to point out to them that I really was there, I said, "Oh, that would be very nice, thank you." So then this gothic chick leads me to an empty chair, and I sit down in it, and she goes away. She comes back with the oldest, most tattered, torn, ripped magazine you could imagine, slams it down on the counter, and buggers off. Well, about 10 minutes later, this dude fronts up, and he says one thing to me, and this is the only thing he says to me the whole entire time that he cuts my hair. He says to me, "How would you like your haircut?" And I said, "Well, I'd like just a light trim, thanks." And then with a smile on my face, I said, "Look, when I leave here, the only two people who should know I've had my hair cut today are you and me." Well, I didn't need to have my hair cut for 3.5 months. That's how much he took off. I could have killed him. Well, I did. You have to. You know, you got to make a point, right? That's the only thing the guy said to me, and he may as well have not said that because he wasn't going to listen. But how many of us Ask a customer a question, don't really hear it, and suggest something that we like to sell or that we know most people like. Maybe this particular person doesn't like it.